All right. So next very important thing is on the pre-screened report suite. What we have is we have very logical separation of our screeners. These are pre-screened, which are ready-made, so you don't have to do anything. Just go there and start using it. Now, where this particular screener is price and volume screener, move on left-hand side, go to pre-screened, go to common screener. This is where the price and volume. Trust me, guys, these are the most basic things, fundamental, most important, whether you go all the way to deep technical, but the key is always the price and volume, right? Which clearly tells you that where the stock is moving. You can have trends and other things, trends, patterns, indicators, but the root or the most basic stuff is price and volume. Now, what you can look for is one of the common things which I suggest is basically look for gainers with volume. Let's say we go into an S&P 500. These are the stocks which have gained pretty much like 11% gain today with 289% volume, right? So this gives you a very good perspective. Now, looking at that table is sometimes a little painful. What you can do is you can just click here, maximize it. Now, these are the stocks which have gained a lot with lot of volume. The next stock in that series is basically, if you see, if you go here, the next here is Bajaj Finance. You don't have to go to Bajaj Finance and start looking at it. What you can do is just go as the next stock, Bajaj Finance. Again, good gain with volume, which tells a lot of things. If the market were to continue in this direction, these are the stocks. It is gap up also, right? Quite a few things. So this is how you typically play. This particular stock has broken some of the near resistance also, right? Almost like few months high, 3 months high at least, right? That's where it is closing up to. So you can always navigate it on this particular part. So these are price volume. These are the common screeners. The second screener, which a lot of our users look for, is OHLC screeners, where they are looking for open is equal to low or gap up or price trending for minimum 3 ticks, right? So these are the stocks which are trending or which are daily going up. So if you see Bajaj Holdings, is going up almost on a daily basis for last 7 days. Page is going up. So this gives you a very good view, even though it is red candle, but the close price is higher than the previous one, right? But I mean, just looking at the chart, just showing off a little bit of my information here. This could be a signal of basically stop in the momentum, right, going forward. But obviously, you must have gone through a lot of books, a lot of training institute courses, and a lot of experience. So I'll leave the judgment to you guys on that. Some of the other things what you would be typically looking for is, we have a very big set of users who look for pivot points. So during the market hours, if you are looking for crossing above R3, then these are the stocks which are crossing above R3. I'll leave this to you to play with the system. High lows. So if you're looking for stock which are, one of the questions that we had is 25 years, right? Of course, we don't have 25 years, but if you're looking for something which are new highs, new 10-year highs, not sure if we get any. Okay, so these are the stocks which has made 10-year high here, right? So when you look at the 10-year chart, right? So okay, what's wrong with this one? Okay, so what did we look for? Sorry, it was 1 year, my fault. 10 years. Now let's see. Right? So we have found 8 stocks in NSE 500 list, which has made 10-year high. So if you look at this has clearly made 10-year high. So some users use this as primary tool for their analysis. So that's why it's here. Some look for farthest from high, which is like contrarian view. I mean, definitely you are welcome to use this as well, right? So stocks which are farthest from, what are we looking? Sorry, farthest from maybe 2-year high, right? So these are farthest from 2-year high, right? Stocks which are away from 2-year high. Let's look at 2-year charts, right? These are really away from 2-year high. So I'll leave it to you guys what percentage it is from 2-year high, right? You can always sort by this. So this is IRCTC, looks the worst in this lot, right? So pretty bad, IRCTC, and quite a few other stocks are there. So I'll leave it to you guys to play with this. Just wanted to give you some a very high level view of this thing. And then last comes is beta, right? So a lot of our users look for beta, stock beta, right? So particularly high beta stocks to make quick bucks for swing trading. So this is where you'll find beta. Next in line is technical screeners. So the technical screeners, to go to technical screeners, click here, technicals, right? Now we have categorized into few different sections, overbought, oversold. So let's say you're looking at overbought RSI on, let's say, 30-minute stick. Go here, 30-minute stick. So these are the stocks which are overbought. So if you see RSI are pretty like 95%. So if you look at Bajaj Finance, it's heavily in oversold territory. So if you see, it's almost nearing 100, right? And why not? The price has gone up and it's continuously going up, right? So that's why you see over here. Kotak Mahindra again looks very overbought. You're looking at, let's say, some certain indicators. For example, let's go into, let's say, super trend. So price bullish reversal, right? If you look at bullish reversal, those stocks form, increase the scope. So you see SpiceJet, right? So there's crossover here on 30 minutes. Similarly, you can play with the other ticks, let's say 10 minutes. So there are quite a few stocks which are coming into this criteria where there's a bullish crossover. Same way, you can go into EMAs. EMA's price just above certain EMA. For example, if you're looking at 200-day moving average, right? So these are certain stocks which are just above 200-day moving average or 200-tick moving average, where the tick here is 10. If you're looking at 200-day moving average, you can look here, right? One of the other things that you maybe or you should know is basically we have two different things: daily market hours and daily EOD. Certain users, they prefer EOD values only. They feel that market hours is too volatile for them. So that's why we retain EOD. And certain users feel that they can ride on the wave during the market hours, so they can choose this one. So it has been cause of certain confusions to a lot of our users. I thought of mentioning that. That's number one. Number two is on RSI. There's again a lot of confusion that our RSI value doesn't match. So similar to MAs, right? We have simple moving average, exponential moving average. Similar to that, we have two RSIs, simple and smooth. RSI, standard RSI moves much faster. A lot of other tools, they prefer this RSI. So if you feel that RSI is not matching, you can always go into RSI smooth to see that it matches to your brokerage firm's RSI value or other favorite tools that you have been using before TopStockResearch. So that was a pretty much high-level overview of technical screeners. Next in line here is basically ticks. We have briefly touched upon the ticks, so I won't repeat that. Auto refresh, if you want that, okay, so during the market hours, if you are on 15-minute tick and you don't want to refresh every 15 minutes, right? Because that's very painful. What you can do is you can set it auto refresh every 5 minutes. Every 15 minutes, it will refresh for you. It is telling me that it is available during market hours, obviously, so that's why it's not enabled here. But during market hours, feel free to use it. This thing, and it also comes with a certain beep, right? So what that beep is, basically you can play with the alert sound, and right. So beep, right? You can play with the settings of your choice and see what beeps really works for you. Right? So basically, this is where you'll say that enable the sound, or you can fine tune your sound settings also. Next in line is fundamental screener. All right, fundamental screener, right? So fundamental screener, we have two basic set of category of screeners: the ratios and the real balance sheet stuff or the financial result stuff. First thing is highlights. If you want to sort by a certain market cap, sorting by high to low, if you want to know which is the highest by market cap, it tells Reliance as on date. Reliance is the highest in terms of market cap. This is the market cap of it. Or market cap is of TCS is this. If you want to go with a smaller set of things, mid cap Adani Total is on top, followed by Hindustan Zinc. You can sort by other things like EPS, right? If you want to sort by high EPS to low EPS, you can do here. EPS, of course, is not a very great stuff. Some of the things that you may be more interested in is dividend yield, sort by dividend yield. So these are the stocks which gives you better dividend yield. Hindustan Zinc, Power Finance, REC. Looks like public sectors are more towards sharing the stuff with you, sharing the profit with the end users, compared to some of the other private organizations. You can sort by other numbers like lot of, if you are more like looking for stability stocks, you can look for Altman Z-score. So the higher, the better. Apart from Altman, we also try to give you some of the other important stuff like Piotrowski, Peter Lynch value, price to Graham, right? Sloan ratio. So that it's when you start looking at some of the expert or guru values, right? You also get some of the other important numbers also to get you a very comfort level of what you're looking for. You can sort by most recent quarter values. Like if you are looking for ROA, then these are the stocks based on the most recent values. These are heavy on the ROA. Its TTM, its financial year ROA is also mentioned here. Some of the related fields that you may be interested with ROA, like ROE or other ROCE, is also mentioned here. You have an option of customizing a set of columns, which we'll cover in a shorter while. Okay? Same way, trailing 12 months. You can sort by trailing 12 months of, let's say, PE trailing 12 months. So, so some of the stocks like are very expensive. Adani Total looks extremely expensive. Like these are the stocks which looks very, very expensive, right? I'm sure the chart is also moving up, right? So that's why there's a lot of growth. So it's even going much higher in terms of the pricing. So price by earning obviously goes much higher on that. You can look at other valuations, profitability, solvency. For example, if you're looking at debt to equity, again, a very important number. So you can look at the numbers which are very high on debt to equity. IRCTC doesn't look very good, right? So similarly, you can look at the other numbers on this thing. So these are the screeners. Use your knowledge that you have gained and use our screeners to filter the stocks to the best and the fullest extent. Next in this line is TSR technical strength indicator. Now this is something which is our own proprietary. We'll have a complete separate sections or session for this one. But to give you a brief overview of this thing is, you go to TSR strength index, you can always find the stocks which are most bullish on any tick. For example, on 15 minutes tick, not too many. So on maybe let's go into the EOD tick, right? So if you look, ZF commercial looks very bullish. You can sort by ranking also. A page we did before. So let's go into Nuvoco Vitas, right? So these are the stocks. If you look at the stocks, these are really going up. That's what we try to capture. If you go with a typical indicator, let's say RSI or a moving average or a Ichimoku or a double top or double bottom, it covers only one aspect. What we try to do here is we try to cover many aspects for you before we say that this is one of the good stocks, right? Again, guys, note that these are all based on historical patterns, right? Nobody can predict how the stock is going to be tomorrow, right? So keep that in mind. It only based on the historical pattern that what looks most bullish and which is doing pretty good, right? So we cover quite a few technical indicators. We cover a lot of basically chart patterns, support resistance before we calculate which stocks is more bullish compared to the other ones. Again, you can use on any of the tick that you feel depending on your time horizon. You can pick 5 minutes all the way to monthly tick. On monthly tick, Uflex looks good. Let's see how Uflex is, or maybe Coromandel looks even better. Right? Let's look at the Coromandel. So on monthly tick, if you see, it's pretty much rising. So if you are more like a slightly long term, you might want to use monthly tick. Okay, next in.
Would it be possible to get
from that? You can look at financial strength, growth, valuation. So let's say if you're looking at growth stocks or maybe more on the value stocks, right? So which is where you can get more of this thing. So you'll get the rank, overall rank on this. So Shyam Metallics looks good. It has good value. It has good growth, good stability, and good profitability. Not a very common thing to note. Rail Vikas Nigam again looks like from growth it looks very good, but from stability and growth it does not look very good, right? And also it's mild bearish. So when you go into individual stocks, then you'll find more information about it, see where it is. So in terms of value, it is good value, but in other aspects, it's not so good, right? Why it is good at value is some of the valuation stuff looks green over here, right? So that's why it is becoming more value. And apart from this, we use a lot more other parameters. If you look at the profitability, you have certain greens, certain reds. That's why you see that overall profitability is not so good, right? Similarly, if you're looking at the solvency perspective, certain green, certain red, right? So overall, when we try to get all the factors together, the stability, the profit, and the growth is not so good. But from valuation perspective, it is very good. So similarly, you can go and look at the other TSR strength index, profitability, stability. I'll leave it to you guys to play with it. Fair value. Now, fair value, we have quite a few fair values in the system. Now, this is again sort of proprietary for us. Of course, discounted cash flow or excess return model, these are pretty standard. But what we do is we have our own implementation of that based on the certain standards which is practiced globally. We have our own customized version of it. So feel free to use it. So if you see that certain stocks which are below fair value is where what you should be looking at it is like it is low value stock, right? Price to fair value. Bajaj Auto looks one of the good stocks. UTI Asset Management, and there are few things which are just at the fair value level. When you look at this, the L&T Finance Holding price by fair value is on a different level, right? So you just play with the system to see which one suits your requirement, depending on what you prefer, free cash flow or EBITDA model or revenue model or excess return model. Then we have quite 6-7 models available here. Price below fair value, price within 10% of fair value is what I generally prefer. Because a lot of times the stocks with much lower fair value, price below, generally goes with a bad news of the company. It could be management disaster, or it could be any scam, or I don't know what, or product failure, or a very bad results, one of the things. So if you see that the price is 10% of the fair value, then go with certain caution, right? Why it is that? Go look at the news, watch news channels. Otherwise, price within 10% of fair value is something which will give you much better quality results. So that's, I'll leave it to you guys how you want to use it. These are the tools available to you. Now, relative strength is another very interesting stuff. How is the stock vis-a-vis index? For example, if you're looking at Nifty 50 and on a 1 year period, right? So if you look at the stocks which are giving you results, right. So my colleague is mentioning that we are slightly above time. So I'll just wrap up on this one in 30 seconds. So these are the stocks which are giving you returns vis-a-vis Nifty. Also, sorry, I'm looking at 1 month. So let's look at 3 months period. So if you see, so returns of Timken is 46%, whereas return of Nifty is minus 1.8, right? So relative strength is this one. So this is performing much better than Nifty. And when you click on the chart, you'll see that why we are saying that particular thing. So relative strength will give you the strength vis-a-vis a certain index. It could be Nifty, it could be other index like small cap, and we'll see how the other relative strength in when we go into the custom screener and when we take relative strength as a separate topic, right? So that's pretty much about, I think, no, anything else is left. Stock basket. We have briefly touched on the stock basket. You can look at blue chip, you can look at FNO stocks, you can go and look at stock of your choice. If you are an automobile person, you just look at all stocks of automobile. So you'll get an idea about the automobile stocks, right? So that's why you can use the stock basket. We'll cover that again in details. What next? Customized column. Now, these are the certain set of columns that we show you here, right? Now, basically, once you go, so basically, if you have, if these columns are important to you, but if you feel that certain set of columns are more important to you, right? For example, you want to know industry and sector. So you click here, industry sector comes here as preset of columns. You can have certain post set of columns, like let's say you want to have basically financial basics. So you'll have face value, market cap, and other things, which you can create your own set of columns in the results. If you want to change the basic stuff, you're not interested in these set of columns which we have created for you. So you want to go with, let's say, OHLC. So it will give you open, high, low, close. So this particular set of information is fully customizable. That's what we mean by customized column. Once you are happy with this thing, you add to favorite so that you don't have to go click multiple things, come here, click here, click here, click here. It's painful. You just say add to favorite, give it a meaningful name, and then you can directly get to this place. What else we have? Export data. You can export the data to CSV, Excel. You can print the stuff. You can copy this stuff in your clipboard. What else we have? If you feel that this is an important thing and you want to observe it for your own testing purpose, you can add all the stocks to watch list. You can add all the stocks to portfolio, right? So these are certain things which you can do. We'll cover that. I think the next session on this is on Saturday, right? We'll cover these sections in much details on Saturday when we cover pre-screened and custom strainer. What else we have in the pre-screened? EOD, future and option. You have an future and option section. Let's say, let's look at the futures and let's look at the short covering. Today, the market has gone up a lot. So I'm sure there's a lot of short covering. Let's see how the short covering are. So these are the short stocks where a lot of short covering has happened today, right? So, if you are familiar with usage of some things like short covering or put call ratios or other things, you can always go and look at this. But remember, future and options is end of the day only for us, right? Similarly, you can go into index. You can look at the index of your choice. For example, you're looking at Nifty 200. You want to look at all the technicals of it. So you can look at the technicals. You can look at the moving averages of Nifty 500 in one space. Happy with this? You want to export it for your further research analysis. You can export to CSVs, XLS, or add to watch list. So that covers pre-screened.